But I would ask you guys maybe what you'd like to see. We might cast another series after this as well, depending on the length for this one. I'm not sure just yet. But we can play some, maybe play some co-op on stream. Maybe we do some mono battles. I kind of want to play some mono battles, I'm not going to lie. Maybe we do some mono battles. Maybe we do some... Maybe we switch games away from StarCraft and do something else, although I'm sure a lot of people would be less interested in that than the other choices. Anyways, for now, let's just cast some StarCraft 2, as we do have to the bottom right-hand side, the Red Protoss player who just saw taking out Bly. This is DnS. And another player with a 3-letter name in the top left-hand side, in the blue. It's Cass. Back when we only had 140 characters on Twitter, players like Cass and DnS and Bly were like a godsend. You know, much better than having to type out, you know, 3 characters to type like Cass or Bly or DnS versus like, who's even got the longest name and stuff? Like something like Gung Fu Banda. It's like, oh yeah, just unnecessarily long, like, you know, 11-letter name. Who else has a long name in StarCraft? A lot of StarCraft names are pretty short. There's definitely some which have some long names though. I'm trying to think actually who maybe has one of the longer names. Showtime's 8 letters, that's not too crazy. I think Gung Fu Band is a really good call in terms of longer names. Who else has actually a long name? Wardy's very long? Dude, it's 5 letters, Vitalisk. What are you on about? 5 letters isn't long. This Marine checks the grass. I like that, Cass. On top of the, you know, on top of what DnS could do here, where you could hide that probe, that's cute. Panda Bear Me, that's a long one. 592. Math. Not 592. 5911. 11. Yeah, that's 11. That's like Gung Fu Banda. Innovation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Innovation's long. Hero Marine. Oh yeah, actually yeah, Hero Marine's 10. Wow. Panda Bear Me has it though with 11. Wardy with multiple eyes has 9 letters. God damn it. God damn it, guys. Alright. This game, obviously we saw a little bit of an action between Marine and a probe here, but so far, nothing actually lost. So far, the opener's looking as we expect them to. Factory and a starport from the Terran, a Stargate on the way down from the Protoss, but the Adept does arrive in time to kill off this SCV on the low ground, so delays the expansion by just a little bit until these Marines can push the Adept back. Cycling obviously will full on push this away, as we are going to be having the Marines continue in, and ooh, well, a second Adept makes that a bit more awkward. He just wants to finish up the CC though, and he will get that done, and actually I think it was a bit of a mistarget by DnS not to click on the SCV there. I don't see why he would have attacked the CC and not the SCV, so... Fruit Dealer's 11 letters? Yeah, that's also a long one. Wow, StarCraft trivia, man. StarCraft trivia. I'm trying to think of other player names that are long. Why isn't there a website with all of these stats, man? Ravi, where are you? I need your 99% useless facts of who has the other longest names. I mean, you can say Panda Bear Me, but there must be more than just Panda Bear Me, right? On 11? What's the max you can have in StarCraft 2 as a name? Is it 11? I thought you could... Can you have 12-letter names? Or is it 11? I don't know what the max actually is. Anyways, I'm talking about all of this. This really doesn't matter anymore because we see these Adepts continuing to poke, not really committing, just looking for the chance to maybe get a work or kill. But just kind of, you know, in general being pushed away by a couple of Cyclones. Oracle is on the way up, and as he pushes these units away, he actually comes into the mineral line, so he will get a couple of kills here. That's nicely done by DnS, just kind of uses the Adepts to pull units out of position, allowing the Oracle to actually get some damage done. But at the same time, we are going to be seeing these couple of Cyclones continue to come down towards the bottom right-hand side. We're going to push on through and see what they can get done, as we're going to be seeing a couple of Adepts in some trouble. The max is 12 letters, and the lowest is the max is 12, and the lowest is 3. Right? You can't have a 2-letter name because TY has to have TYTY, and IEA had to put in Iasonu, even though his actual ID is just IA. Isn't it crazy? Anyways, we are going to be seeing Marines and a couple of Cyclones going to continue along here. That pylon getting low. DnS wants to protect it because not only is that the pylon that powers its gates, but also the Stargate. Phoenix come in to make a couple of vital lifts, allowing the Stalkers to come in from the north side. Starting to clean this up. A few more Marines left. The Cyclone left over too, but this looks as though it is a defense from DnS, and what a defense it is. What a hold! And again, it's a very difficult position. Keeps the pylon alive as well. Very nicely done. Well, more Phoenix on the way up. One of the things that DnS did lose was a Phoenix and the Oracles in that fight. So definitely wasn't a bad fight from Cass. My biggest issue for Cass is that he's only on 37 SCVs, while there's 55 probes on the map from DnS, and that feels as though it's just a little bit too low. The third CC coming up, I mean, that will help. Another orbital on, on track here, but I'm still a little bit concerned as we see that orbital starting to morph in. +1 attack on the engineering base starting up right now as well. You're going to be seeing a tech lab on this third barracks. And the Stimpack and combat shields will be able to start in the next few moments. So, getting set up in towards this right now is Resonating Glaives and the +1 attack on the Forge. Currently coming through, a couple of Chrono Boosts to help out with that. As we are going to have the +1 stim and combat shields all on the way up now. These Phoenix pushed away towards the top side. The facility is just over halfway done at the moment, as we do see 5 more gates starting to build. Phoenix continue to be pushed away through the top, and we are going to be having DnS continue to gather his got some more bits and pieces done. As you're going to see this Reaper is just going to get taken down. I mean, at this point the Reaper is just trying to harass and doesn't really have much of a role to play in the game. So 3 bases apiece in this PvT, game number 1 on Backwater, and really no player with I kind of want to say neither player with an advantage, but really I think DnS has a massive advantage. 20 workers up, he has a massive bank, which if he spent, would make the supply difference a lot more noticeable. And he's going to start to spend it now. A second Robo facility for Robo Bay coming up already. He's going to be playing some Colossi here in the next few moments. We're going to be seeing the setup continues to come on through into the main base. A little bit of a drop gets dealt with pretty quickly. Glaive Depths are pretty good at dealing with those like little marine drops, honestly. And obviously the issue of dropping against these Phoenix is that these Phoenix can now just chase on in and shut that medevac down. So we are going to be seeing the medevac hunted down. And that's nicely done as we see another wave of Adepts just warped in here on the natural expansion. And that wave of Adepts could mean some trouble if he gets aggressive here. It's kind of weird because he went kind of Glaive Adepts, but it's kind of like not really Phoenix Adept because he didn't make that many Phoenix. So it's a bit of an intriguing one so far. As we do have the Concussive Shell starting up. The Stimpack's about to finish up. A couple of Liberators on the way out. And the Fusion Core from Cass will allow him to have Liberator range here very soon. Just Phoenix just looking for the opportunity to get some more workers. I mean, 3 workers on gas as well. That really does go a long way. And it's just little pickoffs like that that just slow Cass down even further in terms of eventually maybe getting set up. Finds a Marauder too. I mean, these Phoenix are just such a pain. As the Warp Prism flies straight into double Widow Mine. Cass! Oh, wow, that's a great catch there. As we do see one Adept, though, is still picking up some kills. I mean, imagine this was 3 or 4 Adepts, though. That would have been so much more deadly. The Adept even turns around and kills one of the Widow Mines. Revenge! Oh, no! The Warp... never mind the Warp Prism. The Phoenix get destroyed here as well. The Raven, for some reason in this game, has just not done anything, but suddenly an anti-armor missile hits the Phoenix. They fly through a couple of Widow Mines, through a missile turret. Suddenly, DnS has just been completely shut down, and 2 Phoenix can't do anywhere near the same sort of damage as 3 to 5 Phoenix can. It just even takes them a long time to pick off those workers. So great couple of moments there by Cass, really cleaning out a lot of this, as we're going to be seeing those Colossi continue to gather up out towards the 4th base. Continue to get set up as we are going to be having the well, Armory and Engineering Bay from Cass. Is he actually that far behind on upgrades? I guess he's not far behind. It's just a slow upgrade game. 9.5 minutes, and the Bros only really just started 2-2. I guess he was single Forge for a long time and wasn't really rushing into the Forge either with the Phoenix production and some other bits and pieces. We are going to be seeing the Warp Prism is on the way up right now in the main. As you see Colossi gathering together, a few Stalkers, a couple of Sentries. The Phoenix as well, going to be moving out in towards the middle to just see maybe what's going to happen next. Command Center, 4th base from Cass begins to be established as, well, this is a scary army right now, but there is Liberator range on the map. The Liberator count is also pretty terrifying at this moment in time. So neither player is really kind of going to be getting into an engagement and getting out without losing, a decent amount of army, I think. It should be quite the clash when the two players do decide to engage into the others. Now we do see the Widow Mines here setting up on the left-hand side. Man, that was really fucking creepy. My window just suddenly started closing really slowly. I was like, what the fuck's going on? That was actually a little bit terrifying. If I ever thought there was a ghost in my room, that was the moment. Holy shit. Just the way it was closing as well made me look like, what the fuck? Who's there? Oh my god. Scary. 3 floors up, and I still think that I'm potentially being attacked. Who knew? It's all because of that time the pigeon attacked me, man. You can never trust the pigeons. Anyways, a couple of ghosts are on the way out, and we do see a couple more liberators about to pop. And just building up this kind of dream army for Cass. At the same time, DnS, again, a pretty decent army of himself. And you can't just, deny the fact that 4 classes are very powerful. War Prism, again, trying to get something done. This time, the Adepts will get in towards the mineral line. And, a few more of the workers will go down than before. But again, it loses him the War Prism, which really slows down the rest of this. We see carrier production starting from DnS. I mean, only on Backwater, right? Any other map, and Cass would probably be a lot more aggressive and trying to find ways to bake on through to stop DnS from having the kind of passive game that he's having, which allows him to just start setting up the, the carrier production. So passiveness definitely paying off for DnS right now. The big thing about carriers, though, is actually Liberators are so good against Interceptors because of the splash damage they do. They're actually very effective against the Interceptors, surprisingly so a lot of the time. So definitely isn't over that just because he's getting carriers, because Cass does have a decent amount of libs himself. He just lost 2, and he still has 9 on the map, and that doesn't even include those 2 that just showed up right there. So he actually still has 11 on the map. He lost 2, and obviously 3 building at a time. 2 tip upgrades about to finish from the Terran. Still 3-3 on the way from the Pros, so still a slight lead there, but not by a major amount or anything. DnS just holding the map position, just holding control while he waits for the carriers to come up. Again, he doesn't want to commit in because he doesn't want to rebuild units other than carriers. He wants to throw everything he can into carrier production. And that's exactly what he's doing at the moment. +3/+3 on the way through here at the moment, as we see Stalkers, Colossi, Sentries coming up to the top side, and we are going to be seeing the Liberator just hits a shot off onto that Stalker right there. Now a couple of Liberators will start a siege on up and again push those Stalkers and Colossi back. Scan comes down, and we are going to be seeing DnS just visually, this army just kind of sighted out now at the moment. You see a little bit of the army starting to push forwards. Anti-armor missile comes down. Well, the Liberators are starting to chase the Colossus, but the Colossus and Stalkers are running so much that he's actually not been able to target much down just yet. Another anti-armor missile. The Liberators chasing forwards are actually going to get a lot of these Colossi and DnS. He's going to lose this entire army. He didn't even sit in liberation zones. It's just that many Liberators, and the Stalkers had to keep on running, that they were never able to turn around and protect the Colossi. That wasn't the sort of fight that DnS was looking for, and a lot of that's because a lot of his supplies caught up in carriers that were not part of that fight. So while the army supplies looked pretty even going in, DnS was essentially fighting with about half of his army supply. Pushing forwards here, Cass will be looking to try and maybe end this right now after a good fight, but he scans, he'll see the carriers, and for the moment he'll just back away. DnS will gather his carriers together now as well. May get the feeling as though he could maybe attack here soon. 3-3 about to finish. Storm is about to finish as well. As all of these little bits and pieces wrap on up, it will bring into the bring the opportunity to maybe get a good attack going in. So let's see what happens. There's a couple of ghosts here ready to drop some EMPs. Widow Mines defensively as well could go a long way. War Prism into the main. These Adepts and War Prisms have been looking all game long to try and get something done, but every time it's just 3 to 5 workers. The turrets, the Widow Mines have just been so good. However, look at all the Liberators responding to this. Cass moves so many of his Liberators into the main, and that's just going to leave really nothing at all to defend over here. Couple of Disruptors on the ground too. Going to hit amazingly on the first set of bio units which it reaches. Now we see this Viking also picked up. Okay, it doesn't quite go down. For the Planetary Fortress, there's nothing to stop it. There's the Liberators fighting the Interceptors. They'll get a lot of kills. Look how quickly the Interceptors go down. EMP hits on the High Templar as well. That's huge. And right now, the Interceptors aren't here, but the Stalkers definitely are. And I wonder if just too much bio is being lost, because right now the Stalkers are in overwhelming numbers. The carriers will back away as the Liberators go down. The Interceptors will come back into play. GG is called. Cass really had the chance to win this year. But you guys are in New York. You want to have a few drinks one night? About a month from now? I'll totally down to do some sort of a meetup, so we could do something fun like that. Have I ever been to San Francisco? Asked Fear Dragon. Yeah, actually, I went one time, and I stayed with a really good friend I had there called Fear Dragon. Actually, funny enough, you say that because you share the same gamer ID, and it was a lot of fun. We broed out for a week. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Minion Caleb in the chat saying USA here, really happy I came across your stream. It's been a while since I've watched SC2 play, and you're a great caster. Well, dude, thank you so much for the kind words, and I'm glad you're enjoying the stream so much. And as we kick this off, to the bottom right-hand side, our red Protoss player from Cascade is DnS. And to the upper left-hand side, the blue Terran, also from Cascade, is Cass. That sounds great, I should do it again. Ravi, I would actually love to. I really enjoyed San Francisco. It was really awesome. And I actually had a great time. I loved San Francisco. Exploring on my own through the day. Chilling with my man Ravi at night. If I have another NA trip and I don't know where to go afterwards, if I want to go for a couple of days away, I'm definitely going to come and just sleep in your floor again. It'll be great. Whether you invite me or not, I'm just going to show up. And I'm just going to, like, you know, set up camp. That was a good week. We had some fun. We even casted some StarCraft together, which was awesome. We actually ended up doing the WSG APAC regional finals together, right? It was kind of funny. It just sort of came out of nowhere. Like, I think it was like while we were at BlizzCon, they asked me to do it, and I was like, well, I'm in San Francisco with Fear Dragon. They were like, okay, cool, do it with Fear Dragon. So we did. Casted a bunch of StarCraft together. And we casted some ladder heroes together, I think. Right? I believe. I guess it's a bunch of stuff. It was a fun week. It's the amazing thing about just having friends all over the world. You can just sort of like go somewhere and you probably know someone to like chill, you know, to hang out with and stuff. It's really cool. It's really strange but cool. It's a really amazing thing about esports, I think. Anyways, let's see what happens. We see this Adept showing up and is going to be picking away at this SCV. He's going to be able to get a kill here if he ever targets the correct thing. There we go. Finally, the Adept gets his accuracy up a little bit. Just need to increase his levels a little bit. And this Adept sucked, man. If units in StarCraft 2 ever had like randomized statistics, this Adept really just drew the short straw on everything. He had low accuracy. He had low vision. This Adept did nothing correct. Holy crap. What a terrible Adept. Maybe the worst Adept we've ever seen. Anyways, we're all going to be setting up here and looking to see what's going to be happening as we see the blink on the way up here from DnS. In the main base, that Twilight Council coming through just allows him to start the blink. Obviously, that's going to be his early game tech choice this time around. No Stargate, so different from the last game that we just got to see. And with the blink coming through, it just gives him that opportunity to take a lot of map control. You know, you can move around a lot. You can use the Stalkers to control your opponent's side of the map. You can really slow things down for Cassia by quite a lot, honestly. Let's see these couple of Stalkers just poking and prodding at this rock tower. Poke and prod and poke and prod. Reaper will go down here now as well. So Reaper shut down. DnS with a nice little bit of cleanup already. Even though he doesn't have blink yet and he doesn't move across the map, he's already taken map control away from the Terran player. Just limiting the options of the Terran player too by cleaning up these rocks. Stops run-bys coming through here as easily or as quickly, I should say. As we do see the engineering base starts up from Cass in the main, and Stimpack starts. A couple of barracks, bunker at the front just in case. Actually somewhat essential against the Stalkers. It gives you this kind of solid line of defense rather than just having to have your Marines picked away at all the time. It's a little bit powerful, but you can still get something done. You know, you poke forward, you hit the bunker, force SCVs to repair it, then you pick up an SCV or two. So ways around it. Either way, we'll see what happens as we see the third Nexus from DnS. Obviously that's something you can get up into quite safely because he has the blink soon. And he starts up the charge as well. The blink is very good at delaying the Terran play and making some pickoffs here and there. It's a really great utility kind of thing to have on the Stalkers in your army. But the charge is what's going to be really powerful and the real thing which is going to allow you to just sort of swarm a Terran army and to really take some more powerful fights in the follow-ups here. And it's a little bit different to the last game. We didn't really see charge in the last game because we never really saw Zealots. We saw just Stalkers en masse as he went into Colossus production. As he goes into a double forge here, I imagine this is much more going to be something like maybe a faster storm, reliant on Archons and Immortals initially. So a bit of a different play of bit of a different way of setting up and playing here in general from DnS, which is always really cool to see. You know, you come into a game, you just play very differently from what you might usually expect and stuff like that. It's cool. So, I like it. Just DNS can change up. No, I guess I said that badly. Sorry. The lateness of the cast, or the length of the cast, is starting to get to me a little bit. Not that it doesn't surprise me that DNS plays in this way, but the fact that he comes and he changes up his strategy obviously keeps people guessing. It keeps his opponents guessing. And it makes it very hard for him to be predictable. It makes it very hard for cast to just blind counter him, or to do, you know, if something went, you know, if cast is like, oh, well, this is what I did wrong in game number 1, it's very hard for him to fix that in game number 2 if then DNS comes out and starts playing completely differently in game number 2, right? It's so powerful to play differently in these sort of setups, and look at this. I mean, a couple of Widow Mines here and there in the last game really did actually bring Cass a lot of success, but this time they get picked off pretty quick. This Observer actually jumps on top of the army. However, Raven is pretty good at cleaning out that Observer. It goes down instantly. One of the big things about having a Raven in your army, you'll never miss that sneaky Observer. Never, ever, ever. Just going to be seeing another couple of Liberators on the way out, as we do see +1 attack finishes and +1 armor starting up. Again, 1-1 will finish shortly here from DNS, so his current upgrades are still going to be in a lead. If he keeps the Chrono Boost up, then he should be able to hit 2-2, just as +1 armor is finishing out of Cass. Temple Archives comes through from DNS, and we are just going to be seeing him with good map control. These couple of pylons to spot drops coming in potentially, just keeps these pathways kind of visible to him without having to commit into a lot of observers, which takes up a lot of robo build time. They're generally very expensive observers too, a lot of, you know, very gas heavy. And I love this as well, by the way. He's just snuck around the back with the Stalkers. So as the main army moves out, these Stalkers are going to get in. They're going to get himself an SCV. He's going to be able to get a Marine or two. But you'll have to back away pretty quickly, actually, because that Siege Tank is a little bit terrified. It's probably the better choice, actually, because if he continued in, there's a Widow Mine waiting, a couple of Liberators coming out. I don't think the Stalkers were going to find much more, so good choice to back away there. You see this Marauder is going to be in a little bit of trouble in the backside of this army, and we are going to see that going down. A Widow Mine burrows, but doesn't actually get too much done as the Bio continues to push those Stalkers away. And again, 2-2 upgrades now from DNS, currently on the way up in the main base. So he's getting those 2-2 upgrades as we see Cass continue to think about pushing down in towards this third. Doesn't quite find the opportunity to make that happen just yet, as we are going to be having the this army of Cass just continue to gather together. A lot of gateways on the way up right now for DNS. Obviously just has, and I say on the way up, but they've been up for a little while. It's just that typical 3-base setup which allows him to warp in all of those kind of gateway units which he needs throughout this game. A little bit of a supply block here though, so 4 pylons start up at the same time. That will kind of help him, not help him, but start to build up a bank here. 1400, 1000. Obviously you want to keep that low, and by missing a warp-in cycle, it really does slow you down. Because now, you know, it's going to be, you know, the entire cooldown of the warp gates until you can warp in again. And so that mineral count at the very least is going to stay very high. Maybe even the point where you do just add on another couple of gateways, because what else are you going to do with those minerals? You can maybe move towards a 4th base as well, I suppose, and with a couple of extra gates, let's just spend the majority of it. It does just take a little while. Anyways, Dark Shrine is coming up in the main, so DNS just another way for him to harass. A very passive game yet again, but it really should be Cass who's kind of pressing the issue, right? I mean, he's the one that shouldn't be sitting back and letting DNS do whatever, especially on a map where there is ways to punish the Protoss player a lot more, and there is way for him to move in different directions. Free on the way up right now for DNS. I mean, we mentioned it before. His upgrades have been looking good. He'll have 3-3 against 2-2 for a while. Maybe that's the time you'll look for. Although right now he still has 2-2 against 1-1, so he still has the upgrade lead if he decides to commit in towards an attack right here. And as he comes up through the center of the map. It's a lot of Zealots, by the way. That's like, what? 24, 32, 36 Zealots? It's an insane amount of charge lots. Those Widow Mines are going to have to get some really good connections here. It does mean there's a real kind of lack of, you know, anti-air from the Protoss player. You know, where's the Stalker count that's going to help deal with these Liberators, which are starting to mass up in numbers? 2 more on the way out in the production tab. And that is a question I have as we see this Warp Prism to the left. Well, the missile turret ring on the main base is there, so we should not really see this Warp Prism be able to do too much. DNS getting set to push through the center at the same time. Warp Prism around the left. And we'll be trying to push on in, but again, I just don't think it can, so it's not going to be that distraction which DNS wants it to be. If he comes in from the right, this is a choked up area. There's Widow Mines here as well. There's that Warp Prism being denied. Maybe you can actually just drop the Zealots here and run them into the natural. Maybe enough to actually just pull these units away you know, as much as, you know, DnS wants to. Let's see what he can find. That turret's still finding some information on that War Prism. War Prism just going to get shut down. One single Zealot. A few Zealots up here going to get shut down too. There is actually an overcommitment from Cass back into the natural. Gives DnS a little bit of an opportunity to start this fight off towards the third base. The siege tank goes down. Now the Storms are able to come into position as the Terran tries to relocate forwards. He will be able to push the Protoss away, but at the cost of the 4th command center and just a little bit of the kind of Sim City he had going on here. DnS will back away. Obviously hasn't been able to set back up in this location or reinforce this location for a while because the War Prism got killed. So his reinforcements have not come through. Now he's actually going to lead the Zealots off to the right-hand side as he looks as though he's going to send the majority of his army to the left. Cass sees what's going on though. He sees these few Zealots on the right. You'll see the rest of the army coming to the left. And oh, well, we talked about the Dark Shrine earlier. Those DTs are going to start moving forwards now as DnS does his very typical Fleet Beacon and extra Stargate thing. You know, starts going in towards carriers if he finds himself in an advantage. Here he goes. Zealots from the right side. Storms from the left are absolutely huge. The Liberators are so far out of position. I mean, Cass has dealt with the DTs very nicely, but DnS has gotten off to a great start in this fight, and now these Libs try to relocate, but DnS just kites away from them, and, well, he can just sort of continue fighting as long as he stays out of Liberation Zone. Now have to be careful, clean up these rocks so he has a way out to the left-hand side still. Oh, I thought Cass had dealt with the DTs, but there's still one in the main base on 16 kills. He dealt with the one on the natural, but not in the main, and that's absolutely so painful for him now. 21 workers going down, while DnS just sort of backs off. He's like, okay, cool. The damage here is already being dealt. You know, I've taken away your 4th base potential for a while. I've expanded myself. I'm taking a 5th of my own. Let's just wait a little bit for Tempest to come up so I can really fight that Liberator count. And DnS is going to take the game because Cass is just like, yep, you're right, man. This isn't going to go well.